Where do you see us as as a species, as a collective, and this path or many pathways that we're on? Like, I don't know if you're even like, giving mind or attention to, more of the, for lack of a better word, conspiratorial aspects of things, or even just like the news aspect of things. But like, where do you see this, human train going? Like, where are the tracks leading us? And I mean, I don't know if that's a coherent question, but maybe you kind
Mm-hmm.
of get what I'm asking.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear. And to acknowledge the first part of your question, I absolutely do my best to pay attention to every possible storyline in the field. It's kind of like if we show up like in Tron or something, like we're, okay, ready player one, we're porting into this realm.
Yeah.
We want to know who are all the players on the field. This is a really
Yeah.
good thing to know, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I
Yeah.
really appreciate and love your recent series, into the conspiracy of everything. Is that what it's called?
Like, yeah, a conspiracy theory of everything.
I love it, man, because it's so um I love the way that you've been approaching and the tone that these videos and these pieces have taken of just asking questions. This is not to be underestimated, the power of just asking questions, questioning things. Um, that's like step one, right? Of just being open to the fact that beyond your world and the game that and the players that are in your world, there's a very big game board here, and there's a lot of different ideas about what kinds of games are being played in this realm. And so, as a guardian or a gardener, which is kind of the same thing of this realm, we want to know who's in the garden and what's happening. Which foxes are raiding the hen house at night and taking away the eggs? Who's who and what's what, right? So I'll just say that first of all, you know, for many who have kind of come or been attracted to a lot of the new age communities, the spiritual communities, and just now it's just kind of called conscious community. There can be a tendency to just be addicted to only half of the sphere and wanting to stay up there in terms of the positivity, the love, and the light. And I don't want to focus on anything that's negative, and don't talk to me about conspiracies because I don't want to create that reality, right? So that's nice, but I kind of see that as like a step in our training, and as we grow in our capacity to hold space, we can actually um, occupy a larger sphere of awareness, which doesn't shut down all the other realities that are happening as well. It doesn't shut down our awareness to the other realities that are happening as well. But there's something to be learned from all of them. So that's a long way of saying what I really want to say, which is, yes, I pay attention to what the dark ones are up to. I pay attention and witness and do my best to stay so attuned to every ripple and disturbance in the force. Not unlike, these mythoses, like, when the Jedi are in council and they're in meditation, they're like, they can feel when a planet got destroyed. They can feel when, there's a dissonant force rising up somewhere and causing ripple. We can feel that. And
Yeah.
so I've attuned my body to be able to track those things, but it's a very fine line once you're aware of that, not to be so focused upon it that you yourself get sucked in and kind of dragged down, vibrationally
Yeah.
speaking. And that is, I think, why many of us don't even want to go there, because as soon as you are aware that there's child trafficking, running rampant in society, that there's all these horrible things, right? Things that would just don't feel good to be aware of. There can be a tendency to numb or bypass that. And I would, just support everyone, especially the sensitive ones, especially those who are like just these pure earth creatures in human bodies. And there's so many like beautiful souls that it seems like, wow, did we really sign up to feel and see all of this shadow stuff? And I feel like it's like a definitely yes, we did, because that's a part of what's going to help us be better gardeners, is to understand what's at play. And so now to the second part of your question, which is really a very big question in terms of where is this streaming? Where is the train rolling? I feel, studying some of the plans. It's like, if you want to get to know kind of what our challenges are, just listen and learn and study what are the leaders saying their plans are going to be. They're all written out. You can just kind of go online and just read word for word. Here's what's been planned, right? I went and bought a copy of Agenda 21, which is now rebranded as Agenda 2030, which is not a conspiracy. It's a book of a plan that the UN put out many years ago, and I think 192 countries signed it and said, yeah, this is a plan that we want to be behind. And I read it because I wanted to know what are these structures who are making decisions on behalf of lots of people planning. What are they all saying yes to? So I would like to know that in order to decide if I'm a part of that timeline and want to support that, or if it's really important that we step up our game in creating alternate timelines. And that's what I found to be true when I just, got off of the theory part of the conspiracies, right? And just what are the conspiracies? Not theory, but the actual plans that are being made. So it does seem like there is a very strong emphasis and with a lot of backing to merge humans with technology.
Yeah.
And so we've, a lot of us have heard this word transhumanism. And I would go so far as to say is anything that they're talking about doing has already been done and implemented on different levels. So for instance, the whole, microchipping humanity and even Elon Musk's company neural net, plugging everybody. It's like, it's kind of looking like the Matrix more and more as we get into this thing. But I would go so far as to say is that stuff's already pretty well integrated into humans. There's, if you research smart dust and some of the studies at MIT around, even some of the aerosol delivery of different synthetics, fibers, and other components that are even nanotech, that are self-organizing, that are pretty well introduced into the biosphere and into human bodies. It does seem like between our screens, our devices, cell phone tower, radiation, all of these different levels, these are all forming components of a larger structure to entrain us to become more integrated with technology and frequencies that are not natural to our biology. And yet there's a whole train of thought around this in the higher ups, from whether it's UN, Google, all of these leaders, that are basically kind of moving and in a way grooming us and grooming our psychology to accept that this is natural and even kind of cool to see these movies with like bionic arms and robot people. We've kind of been groomed to accept it. So where am I going with all this? I'm noticing that it's almost like here's a story or a trend or a timeline that's been introduced and is gathering momentum. It's gathering inertia. There's a lot of support. There's trillions of dollars being poured into it. And yet I also see in the more and more ridiculous that gets, the more extreme it gets, the more profoundly it's presented to us, those of us who carry the code as Earth guardians, as we know we're here to create the new Earth, to co-create what it means to be in new Earth communities and create a love-based culture and create infrastructures that are sustainable and in harmony with Gaia, in harmony with the sun and the stars, and be in harmony with this structure that is life itself. It's almost like oil and water. It's almost like, in the alchemical process, there's a bit of a you can feel there's a split in a way. And I'm very curious as to how we're going to handle these parallel timelines. And for me, where I see it going is that there's going to be more and more and more of us creating islands of coherence on land, on community infrastructures that are already in existence. This is already happening. I'm in connection with many of them who are putting all of their focus and energy and intention to creating these safe zones, if you will, or these islands of community and connection. While there are many others who are kind of moving along with this other timeline and getting more and more accustomed to this merging of technology. And so I'm not trying to say that technology is bad either. I want to be very clear about that. There is really not a good and bad when it comes to these neutral structures and forms. It's really about how it's being used and what is the purpose. So I would, I'll just complete there because I know that was a lot, but what I do see is definitely these parallel timelines. And when I peer down and kind of go Doctor Strange and like go all the way to the end of one and come back, go all the way to the end of that one, come back. And I've been doing that. I'm noticing that there's a few of them that don't look very good for humans. A few of these timelines that are being presented and in a way promoted to us very heavily look to me like systems of control that are not in favor or in support of the human spirit and our abundance in terms of being, creators and knowing our own power, which I feel is part of this social distancing. Part of keeping humans in fear and away from each other is not allowing us to feel the bioenergetic field of the plasmic dispensation that's pulsing into the planet right now, that if we were together, and those of us, if you have gathered with your friends, no matter what the government's telling you to do, and I'm not saying do this or do that, but if you have noticed that if you're around people, it feels really good. There's something life affirming. There's something inside of you that's beyond the story that was given to you by the news that's going, something about this feels healthy and true and right. And I'm filled with life and I'm filled with purpose. I'm filled with guidance and direction as a result of this connection. I would just say, go with that feeling, trust that feeling, and it will keep you in track with the timeline that you're meant to be.